All right, so you're really diving deep into this Newcastle versus Wolves match, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a handle on this one.
It looks like you've got articles here from bettingodds.com, Football Whispers,
Oh yeah?
The Independent, thehardtackle.com, and even Sportsmall.
Yeah, quite a mix.
So are you thinking about placing a bet or just super curious
I'm
about how this match is going to play out?
well, a little of both, to be honest.
Okay, well, either way, this Premier League clash on Wednesday could be a real barn burner.
Yeah, it's
We're going to break down these articles
That's good.
and see what we can find.
Okay.
First thing that jumps out at me is Newcastle. They are on fire right now.
Oh yeah, they are absolutely on a tear.
8 wins in a row.
It's incredible, really.
Incredible, yeah.
That kind of momentum can really change a game.
Absolutely, and I see that reflected in these articles. Almost all of them
Uh-huh.
are predicting a Newcastle victory.
Yeah. And, Sportsmall.
Sportsmall even gives them a 76% chance of winning.
Wow, 76, that's a huge percentage.
That's really high.
Yeah, and, I mean, it makes sense, right? They haven't lost to Wolves in their last 6 Premier League encounters either.
That's true, but Wolves do have a new manager now, Vitor Pereira.
Right.
And they've shown some improvement under his leadership.
They have. They
even crushed Leicester.
They crushed Leicester 3-0 back in December.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then they had that loss to Nottingham Forest.
Right, a 3-0 loss to Nottingham Forest recently.
So
So it's really hard to tell.
which Wolves team is going to show up.
Exactly.
So we've got this unstoppable force maybe meeting a movable object.
Yeah, it's
What else are you seeing in these articles?
well, one thing I found really interesting is that Wolves have actually been involved in the highest scoring matches
Wow.
this season,
Really?
both in terms of goals scored and goals conceded.
So they're either scoring a bunch
Yeah.
or getting scored on a bunch.
Yeah, no in between.
That's wild.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it definitely makes it harder to predict.
Definitely adds another layer of complexity, for sure.
Right, and several sources predict over 2.5 goals for the match.
Okay.
And both bettingodds.com and Football Whispers predict a 3-1 Newcastle win.
So we thinking this one's going to be a goal fest?
Well, it has the potential to be.
Especially with...
Especially with Alexander Isak back in the Newcastle lineup.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
He has, since he returned from injury.
He's scoring goals.
He scored 9 goals in his last 7 Premier League games.
9 goals in 7 games. That's incredible.
It is, and bettingodds.com even suggests a bold bet, Isak to score 2 or more goals at 33-10 odds.
Wow. Okay.
So
He is hot right now.
he is, yeah, and Football Whispers highlights him as a potential anytime goal scorer too.
So Wolves are really going to have to keep a close eye on him.
They do, they can't let him run riot.
Okay, so we've got Newcastle, home advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They've got incredible form
Yeah.
and a potential goal machine in Isak.
Right.
What can Wolves do to counter that?
Well, I think the return of Matthias Cunha after his suspension is a massive boost for them.
Go.
He is their leading scorer with 10 goals this season.
So a real threat.
Yeah, a real handful for defenders.
Yeah, gives them a focal point.
Exactly. Gives them a focal point in attack.
And I see the hardtackle.com is suggesting
Yeah.
a 4-4-1-1 formation for Wolves with Cunha leading the line.
Okay.
They are also predicting that Newcastle will go with a 4-3-3,
Interesting.
which could mean a really fascinating tactical battle.
Absolutely. And, in a 4-4-1-1, Wolves will likely try to congest the midfield and limit Newcastle's space
Okay.
to operate.
So it'll be interesting to see how Newcastle's midfield 3,
Yeah.
Guimaras, Tonali, and Joleton cope with that.
They're all incredibly talented.
Incredibly talented. So are you saying that the midfield battle might decide this match?
Well, it could be crucial.
Oh,
Yeah,
so okay.
if Newcastle can control the midfield, they'll be able to dictate the tempo and create chances for Isak and the wingers. But if Wolves can disrupt their rhythm and win the ball back high up the pitch, they can use Cuna's pace and power to hurt Newcastle on the counterattack.
So we've got potential for goals.
Uh-huh.
We've got a tactical chess match brewing in midfield.
Yeah.
And we've got these 2 key players returning from suspension
Right.
who could really change the course of this game.
It's exciting.
This is shaping up to be a really exciting match.
Yeah. I can see why you're intrigued.
I am. So what should we focus on next to help you decide whether to place that bet?
I think we should take a closer look at those predicted formations from the hardtackle.com.
Okay.
I think understanding how the 2 teams might line up
Okay.
and approach the game tactically could give us some valuable insights.
All right, let's do it. All right, so let's dig into these predicted formations from thehardtackle.com.
Sounds good.
It looks like Newcastle is going with a 4-3-3.
Yeah, a classic 4-3-3.
Which is known for being pretty attacking.
It is, yeah. Gives you a lot of attacking options.
So you've got 3 forwards with real goal-scoring potential.
Yeah, and with Isak leading the line.
Yeah.
Supported by wingers like Murphy and Gordon, Newcastle are going to try to stretch Wolves' defense.
And exploit any gaps they can find.
Exactly.
So how does a 4-3-3 formation work in attack?
Well, the 3 forwards in a 4-3-3 are usually positioned across the pitch with 1 central striker and 2 wider forwards.
Okay.
And they try to use their pace and movement to create overloads out wide.
Okay.
Pulling defenders out of position and opening up space for through balls and crosses.
I see.
And the 3 midfielders behind them provide support both defensively and offensively.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it really does sound like it plays to Newcastle's strengths, given all their attacking firepower.
It does, yeah.
So what about Wolves? TheHardTackle.com predicted a 4-4-1-1 formation for them.
Right, the 4-4-1-1.
Is that a more defensive formation?
It can be.
Yeah.
It's often used to congest the midfield and make it difficult for the opposition to build attacks.
Through the center?
Yeah, through the center.
Okay.
So the 2 banks of 4 players, the defenders and the midfielders, they create a narrow and compact shape, making it hard for the other team to penetrate.
So with Kuna as that lone striker,
right,
it sounds like Wolves might be looking to absorb pressure and hit Newcastle on the break.
It's a very real possibility, yeah.
Okay.
The lone striker in a 4-4-1-1 often acts as a target man, holding the ball up and waiting for support from midfielders or wingers making runs forward. So it's a formation that emphasizes defensive solidity and quick transitions.
So we've got Newcastle's expansive 4-3-3 going up against Wolves' potentially more compact 4-4-1-1.
Right.
This tactical battle is really coming into focus now.
It is, but remember, formations are just starting points.
Right.
The way the teams actually play on the pitch can be quite different.
Of course.
It all depends on the manager's instructions and the players' movements.
So even though Newcastle's formation might look more attacking on paper, Wolves could still find ways to exploit any weaknesses in their defense.
Exactly. One potential weakness of the 4-3-3 is that if the wingers get caught too far forward, it can leave the fullbacks exposed to counterattacks.
I see.
So if Wolves can win the ball back quickly and release Cunha or their wingers into space, they could catch Newcastle off guard.
And what about Newcastle's midfield 3 in that 4-3-3?
They are absolutely key.
How do they fit into all of this?
Those 3 midfielders have a lot of responsibility.
Okay.
They need to control the tempo of the game, shield the defense, and also provide creative support for the attack.
It's a demanding role.
It is.
Will they be up to the task?
Well, on paper, they have the quality to do it.
Yeah.
Guimaraes is a fantastic ball winner and distributor. Tonali is a dynamic, box-to-box midfielder who can score goals.
Yeah.
And Joelin Contin has been a revelation since moving into midfield.
Yeah.
Providing energy and physicality.
So you're saying that Newcastle's midfield could be the key to unlocking Wolves' defense?
Potentially, yeah.
And controlling the game.
If they can establish dominance in midfield.
Yeah.
They'll be able to dictate the flow of the game and create chances for their forwards. But if Wolves can disrupt their rhythm and win that midfield battle, they'll have a much better chance of frustrating Newcastle and getting a result.
This is really fascinating stuff.
It is.
We're not just looking at a clash of individual players, but also a clash of styles and tactical approaches.
Exactly. That's what makes this match so intriguing. It's not just about who has the better players. It's about how those players are used.
And how the managers adapt.
And how the 2 managers adapt to each other's tactics.
And don't forget, both teams have those key players returning from suspension.
Right.
It'll be fascinating to see how Isak and Kuna affect their respective teams.
Absolutely. Having their leading scorers back in the lineup,
yeah,
it'll give both teams a huge boost.
Tactically and psychologically.
Tactically and psychologically. Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered formations.
Yeah.
We've talked about some of the tactical approaches.
Uh-huh.
What else do these articles reveal that can give us an edge in predicting this match?
Let's dive into the recent form of both teams.
Okay.
That might give us a clue as to how they'll approach this match.
So we talked about tactics, we talked formations, but you know what they say? Form is temporary.
Right.
Class is permanent.
Yeah.
What do these articles tell us about the recent form of both these teams?
Well, as we mentioned before, Newcastle's in phenomenal form right now.
They are.
8 wins in a row is a serious statement.
Yeah. Playing with so much confidence.
Yeah, they're scoring goals.
Scoring goals for fun.
They really look like a well-oiled machine.
They do. They seem unstoppable.
Yeah.
What about Wolves?
Well, for Wolves, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag.
Okay.
I mean, they've shown glimpses of what they can do under Pereira.
Yeah.
But they've also been inconsistent.
That 3-0 loss to Forest.
Right. That 3-0 loss to Nottingham Forest will have dented their confidence for sure.
Do you think those contrasting forms give Newcastle a psychological edge going into this match?
I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
I mean, momentum can play a huge role in football.
Right.
When you're winning, you feel like you can beat anyone.
Exactly.
And when you're struggling, it can be hard to turn things around.
It can be really hard to get out of that slump.
It can, yeah.
So Newcastle riding high on confidence.
Yeah.
Wolves may be feeling a little vulnerable.
Mm.
But Wolves have pulled off upsets before.
They have.
They beat Manchester United a few weeks ago.
They did. And I think that victory will give them belief.
Yeah.
That they can compete with the best.
Against anybody.
Yeah, they'll need to tap into that spirit and determination again if they want to get something out of this match.
So you're saying that even with Newcastle's impressive form, Wolves shouldn't be underestimated?
Absolutely not. They have a lot of potential.
Okay.
And with Kuna back in the mix,
yeah,
they've got a real goal threat.
So they'll be looking to bounce back from that Forest defeat.
For sure, they'll be hungry.
They'll want to prove themselves.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All these articles seem to focus on Newcastle's strengths. Right. And kind of Wolves' weaknesses. Uh-huh. But every team has vulnerabilities.
Every team does.
Is there anything in these sources that hints at how Wolves might actually exploit Newcastle?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And you're right. Every team has weaknesses.
Yeah.
One thing that stood out to me was that Newcastle's high press can sometimes leave them exposed at the back.
Okay.
So if Wolves can withstand that initial pressure and break through the lines, they might be able to create some dangerous opportunities.
So you're saying Wolves' best chance might be to absorb those attacks and then hit Newcastle on the counter?
It's a tactic that could work, especially if they can get Kuna.
With Kuna's pace?
Yeah, with Kuna's pace and their wingers involved as well.
So get those wide players running.
Yeah, if they can get their wide players running at Newcastle's fullbacks.
Yeah.
Who might be pushed high up the pitch, they could cause some problems.
This is giving me a lot to think about.
Good.
What else can we glean from these articles? Any hidden gems that can help us make sense of this matchup?
Well, I found it interesting that one article mentioned that Wolves have struggled defensively on the road this season.
Okay.
They've conceded a lot of goals away from home.
So if Wolves are vulnerable defensively on the road, and Newcastle's in such great attacking form at home, seems to point towards a high-scoring game?
It could, yeah.
Actually.
But remember, football's full of surprises.
That is true. That is true.
Wolves could just tighten up the bag and frustrate Newcastle.
It all comes down to how they perform on the night.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've analyzed the form, the tactics, the individual players. We've even identified some potential vulnerabilities for both sides. Is there anything else we need to consider before we wrap up and make our predictions?
One final thought.
Okay.
Don't forget about the psychological aspect of this match.
Okay.
You know, Newcastle are chasing a Champions League spot.
Yeah.
There's pressure on them to keep winning.
Yeah.
Wolves, on the other hand, are more of an underdog.
Right.
They might be able to play with a bit more freedom.
Yeah, with less expectation.
Exactly, less expectation.
So you're saying that weight of expectation could actually work against Newcastle?
It's a possibility.
Okay.
If they start to feel the pressure, it could affect their performance.
And Wolves might see this as a chance to pull off a big upset.
They could, yeah. They could see it as a free hit.
A free hit, a chance to make a statement.
Exactly.
Wow, this deep dive has been so insightful.
Good.
We've explored every angle.
I think so.
From tactics and formations, to individual player matchups, to even the psychological dynamics of this game.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a much deeper understanding of what to expect from this match now.
Good, I'm glad.
But of course, you know, predictions are just educated guesses.
They are, yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens on the pitch.
That's right. That's the beauty of football.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a pleasure exploring this match with you.
It's been fun.
It has. It has.
Yeah.
And to all of you listening, we hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights into this Premier League clash.
Yes.
Good luck with those bets.
Good luck.
And most importantly,
enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game.